Welcome back. Now that we've covered the big picture of getting out of Google jail, let's get into specific violations. If you're here in Lesson 4, you must have encountered violations for violating Google's misrepresentation policies. Remember from Lesson 2, it's important to get to the root of the problem with your Google account. You might have violations for circumventing Google, but what caused you to circumvent Google in the first place? More often than not, is because you got in trouble for one of these misrepresentations violations and you didn't know how to solve it. You're finally in the right place, and by the end of this lesson, you understand how to untangle the mess of violations and you'll be well on your way to fixing them and getting out of Google jail. So, let's dive into misrepresentation violations. If you've navigated to this lesson directly from Lesson 2, I highly suggest you also take a look at Lesson 3, which covers healthcare and medicines violations. For small businesses in healthcare, it's quite easy to violate policies within these two categories. Let's get started by talking about the most common violations I see under the misrepresentations policy. I'll show you how to get yourself on the right track after violating each policy. The first one is dishonest pricing practices. Google wants transparent, upfront pricing. Their policy makes it clear that misleading pricing tactics, such as displaying one price in the ad and a different one at checkout, are not allowed. If your ad promises free shipping or a discount, that offer must be clearly available on your website without surprises. Google requires that users encounter consistent information from ad to checkout. A typical violation happens when an ad promises a product for $20 with free shipping, but when the user gets to checkout, they find hidden fees or suddenly aren't eligible for the free shipping. This inconsistency violates Google's policy, but it also misleads the user by not delivering what was promised in the ad. The right way to handle pricing is to make sure everything in your ad matches the reality of the checkout experience. If you advertise a price or discount, make sure the customer gets that same price or discount when they reach checkout. Transparency is key. Use clear language in your ads and avoid any surprises in the purchase process. The next super common violation I encounter is misleading ad design. Have you ever clicked on something thinking it was a search result, but it really was an ad? Google doesn't allow ads to trick users into thinking they're something else. Ads must clearly be identifiable as ads. Designs that mimic system warnings or look like non-ad content, such as search results or social media posts, are strictly prohibited. This policy ensures that users know exactly what they're interacting with, protecting them from deceptive designs. An example of this violation would be creating an ad that looks like a system warning, making users think they need to click to fix an error. Another would be designing the ad that looks identical to a regular search result, causing users to click thinking it's not an ad at all. These designs blur the line between ads and content, and that's where the violation happens. The solution is simple. Make sure your ads look like ads. Use clear indicators, such as ad labels, and avoid mimicking other website content like search results or error messages. Transparency builds trust with users, and following Google's guidelines will help your ads stay compliant. All right, next up, unreliable claims. This one is an easy one for those in the healthcare business to violate, and you'll see why. Google's policies on unreliable claims is all about truth in advertising. You can't make exaggerated promises such as claiming a product is a miracle cure or guaranteed to work, even though these types of phrases are commonly used around products you might sell. Any claims you make must be backed by evidence. Ads must represent the product accurately and avoid creating unrealistic expectations for users. Let's say you're advertising a skincare product and claim that it eliminates wrinkles in just 1 week. Unless you have solid, verifiable data to back that up, Google will flag this as an unreliable claim. Making these types of promises without proof leads to user mistrust and violates Google's policies. So the solution is to stick to what you can prove. Instead of saying, cures your acne in days, say something like, may help reduce acne symptoms. Be clear, honest, and evidence-based in your claims, and don't promise results you can't back up with scientific data. Google prefers ads that focus on what's possible, not guaranteed claims. Okay, next up, let's talk about unavailable offers. Google's policy for unavailable offers is about honesty and accessibility. You can't advertise something like a special offer or discount if it's no longer available or if users can't easily find it. Imagine running an ad that says 20% off all items today, but when users click the ad, there's no such discount available on the website. This would violate Google's policy because you essentially baited the user with a deal that no longer exists. The solution? Stay on top of your stuff. Always update your ads to reflect current offers. If a discount ends or a product goes out of stock, immediately remove or revise the ad. Consistency between the ad's promise and the landing page is crucial. Google wants to see that users find exactly what your ad says they will. Okay, moving on. The next commonly violated policy is unclear relevance. Google's policy on relevance is about ensuring that ads accurately reflect the content of the landing page. Your ad needs to clearly describe what users will find when they click through. Ads that mislead users with irrelevant keywords or unclear messaging can result in violations. A violation could occur if you're running an ad about weight loss supplements, but the landing page is primarily about general fitness programs with little focus on the product mentioned. If the user doesn't find what they're expected, this creates a disconnect, and Google sees that as a violation. To stay compliant, make sure your ad copy directly matches the content of your landing page. If your ad mentions weight loss supplements, the landing page needs to focus on that product. Keep everything relevant and aligned, from keywords to copy to user experience. Finally, let's talk about clickbait ads. Clickbait ads are sensationalist or exaggerated language to lure users into clicking. Google prohibits these type of ads because they can create misleading expectation or manipulate users into clicking based on hype rather than substance. Ads must be straightforward and genuine in their content. An example would be running the ad with the headline, "You won't believe what happens next," or "This simple trick will change your life." Both of these are examples of clickbait. These types of phrases are designed to generate curiosity, but often don't deliver relevant or meaningful content when clicked. So, avoid using hype and sensational language. Instead, focus on clear, factual descriptions of what users can expect. For example, learn more about our weight loss program is far better than using tricks to get clicks. Stay honest and align the ad with the content behind it, and you'll avoid issues with clickbait. Did you notice a theme among the solutions for all these violations? A lot of it all comes down to the copy. So when in doubt, use a passive voice when you're writing the copy of your ads. If you aren't sure where to start with perfecting your ad copy, don't worry. We'll dive deeper into Google approved copy in lesson 6. So, now that you understand the most common violations, let's get you out of them. If you're ready to overcome your misrepresentation policy violations, use our resources to correct these errors in your ads, keywords, and landing pages. Then, if you really want to have a leg up on when you can contact Google, go ahead and get certified. I'll show you how it's done in the next lesson. Once you've done all of that, you're ready to move on to your appeal. If you've navigated directly to this lesson from lesson 2 to immediately fix your problem at hand, I want to remind you to go back and watch lesson 3. In lesson 3, we'll go over any violations that fall under the category of healthcare and medicine's policy violations. So even if you aren't dealing with those today, I highly recommend checking out those lessons as well, even if you didn't already. You'll never know when Google will slap you with another violation that you don't understand. By taking both lessons now, You're future-proofing yourself and ensuring you have the tools to handle all the scenarios that you may encounter in the future. And one more thing, remember to follow and document your process on the Get Out of Google Jail worksheet that you got at the end of Lesson 2. This will help you stay organized with each step of the process. All right, that's all for this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll work on that certification. Once you've untangled your violations, both the circumventing policy violations and the root cause, navigate to Lesson 5. There, you'll learn to get certified as an online pharmacy, which will give you a leg to stand on when you appeal your case to Google. I'll see you there.